Today, we're going to be working on a 2006 Ford Mustang with a V6.
The truth.
So today we're going to be changing out these power steering lines. This is the part number that we picked up. I think we got it from O'Reilly's or one of the auto parts stores, but you can reference this number and see if you can find it on Amazon or something too. Alright, let's get the hood popped on this thing. Alright, so you can kind of see right down in there. See if it'll focus. Maybe. There it goes, a little wet down there. It's the power steering lines are leaking in this car. I don't know if the driver or the owner of it ran into something and it kind of messed that area up, or what exactly happened, but they want both, or that one line replaced. It runs across the front over here and then back. But it's been dripping in my driveway, so I threw down a mat. You can see the fresh drips. But, yeah, and this bumper's popped out a bit. So, alright, I think easiest way to get to it is probably just taking off this front bumper altogether. So, what I'm going to do is there's a couple screws right up top, and there should be some in the fender liner down here, and maybe a few down the bottom. But yeah, let's get this front bumper off the car, and I think we're going to have a lot better access to this power steering line that runs across the front here. And then one of the lines comes up to the bottom side of this pump, or the reservoir, whatever you want to call it. And the other line runs down to the rack down in here. So that kit I just showed you guys does have the rubber lines for those two. Not this rubber line though, but it does have this smaller one that runs down this way, and then the one to the rack. So again, let's get this front bumper off and see what we're working with. Alright, so I was just looking at it, and there's a couple like screws or clips or whatever underneath kind of where the headlight runs. So because the power steering fluid is pretty much out of this car, what I'm going to do is I'm going to jack it up just so my front wheels are off the ground. So when I go to turn the wheels, it's a lot easier than fighting against the ground, essentially, with trying to turn the wheel with no power steering fluid in it. So let's get this thing up off the ground, literally just enough to clear those front tires, and then throw it on some jack stands. Alright, now that the front wheels are up off the ground, I can shift them left and right. Because the power steering's not working, it was kind of difficult to even move them before. It's still going to be a little difficult now, but being suspended in the air, they're going to be able to turn a lot easier. But I did this so I can get to the clips that are just underneath the fender here. So I've got to turn the wheel one way, get that fender liner out of the way, and then I can get to these little clips, unbolt those so we can get this front bumper off the car. Well, the driver's side has no fender liner. Don't ask me, I'm not the owner of this car. I did see one on the passenger side. It comes about halfway down, so we'll have to take a clip out of that to move that one out of the way. But this one, we should have access to these bolts right here. I'll show you guys them up close and personal here in just a second. And just as a reference, here's the one on the passenger side. Like I said, it comes out about halfway. Looks like they cut it, or it's been rubbing through, one of the two, but we'll still need access up this way. So there's a clip right here we're going to take out, and if you still had the rest of this in, you'd have some clips down here as well. Alright, so it's got these little nuts on the bottom, this one, and there's also a little plastic clip right here as well. We're going to be taking those out. Keep in mind, yours right here is probably going to be straight. This one has been in a front end collision, so this is definitely bent and not straight like it should be. But yeah, let's get these two off. They look like maybe 10 or 12 millimeter, or the equivalent standard size, and this is just a little plastic clip, which we're gonna get on the top side. I don't know how well you can see. Get on the top side, and we'll just pop it out with like a fender tool, or one of those little plastic body panel tools kind of things. But yeah, let's get these out really quick. Alright, to make my life a little bit easier, I took this guy all the way out. It was mounted in there like this. So I just took this third bolt out, and then this guy came right up and out of there. But now that fender's coming out like it should. Now let's do the same thing to the passenger side. Alright, so next we got a couple of screws up top. We're going to remove those, and then this front bumper should be coming out of here. Now yours may have some clips along the bottom. This one does not. So I should be able to get this bumper all the way off the car. Be mindful too, there should be bulbs on these lights right here for their blinkers. So there's going to be wiring attached. So just be ready to unhook those as well. Alright, so my reservoir is empty because it's been dripping out for however long. But it looks like it was rubbing a hole right over here on the line when all this was not secured. Because, you see down here, this bracket is not hooked to anything. It should have been hooked here. And then this side of the bracket is being held on by a piece of wire to the core over here. This is the AC, what's that, condenser core? But yeah, it's just got a piece of electrical wire somebody tied on there. And again, this thing has been in an accident. I know her AC system does not work. That may be a future fix, but not the fix we're doing today. Today, it's about the power steering. But I'm going to go underneath the car, and we're going to loosen this clamp right here and take this rubber hose off of the hard line right there. If your reservoir was still full, you'd probably have a lot of fluid coming out of that line, so have a catch pan ready or something. Mine should be relatively empty. I'm still going to throw down a catch pan just in case there's something left in that line. But yeah, let's go ahead and take that clamp off and get that line loose from the hard line. Alright, next up is the clamp right here on this line. So I'm going to get in here, loosen this clamp, and pop this line off the bottom of the reservoir. Alright, so this line's on there pretty good. I was trying to pull on it with my hand. It's kind of hard to get to, so I'm going to use a pick and just kind of get up underneath the seal and just kind of pry back this way. There it goes. There we go. Got it. A lot of elbow grease, but got it with our pick. I guess I just got it under there and pulled. Alright, now typically you're going to have it mounted here up to the radiator condenser here and over there as well. But again, because this one's not mounted up correctly, it's just kind of just dangling in the moment. So we're going to take off that wire that's holding that one on over there, and then this whole thing should come right out. Alright, there we go. We got the old one out. Let's get the new one out of the bag, and we're going to start installing it. Now it is important to match up your old one to your new one. Make sure everything's kind of the same bends where they should be and all that kind of good stuff. It looks like we're going to have to take the brackets off of our old one. These little brackets and that little bracket, and put it on our new one. Because the bag did not come with any brackets. It only came with new hose clamps and mounting hardware. So let's figure out how to take these brackets off the old one really quick. Alright, so in this kit it came with 3 little bolts and 3 little nuts. I believe they're for the brackets that hook these lines together. So I've got to drill them out. They're all riveted in. So drill out the rivet, and then we're going to install the bolt on our new line to hold those brackets on there. Now that it's off the car, I see exactly where it was coming from. You can see that cut right there by my thumb. It cut all the way through to the inner part of the metal. It was just rubbing on the frame the entire time. So that's what caused our leak. All right, so first thing I want to do is I'm going to take one of these little clamps. I'm just going to slide it on the metal hose here. And then we're going to be shoving this hose onto here. It does go a certain direction. So it's got this really long shaft over this side. This is what goes through the bottom of our reservoir. And then you got a little short shaft with the bend right away. That's what's going to go on our hose, just like this. I'm not going to tighten it with our clamp yet until we get it on the car. That way I can position this however exactly I need it. And then we'll go ahead and throw our clamp on. But if you put this hose on first and then try and get the clamp on, it's a real pain in the butt. So it's easier just to slide this guy on first and then jam our hose in. Alright, so you can kind of see where the rib at is on this the metal line right here. So we got plenty of room to throw our clamp, be nice and safe, and make sure it seals properly. And we can still rotate this guy if we need to. Next, let's go ahead and put these clamps that hold the lines together. Didn't mean to give you guys the finger there. We're going to put these clamps on that hold these lines together at certain intervals. The first one goes up here. Second one's about down in here. I'm going to leave that one a little bit loose. I'm going to leave the one on that end a little bit loose. That way we can put exactly where we need it on these lines. Also, before you put this clamp on, just make sure this little hose clamp is in between the rubber boot and your hose. Alright, now the bracket with both lines is going to go down here somewhere. And then obviously the bracket for it. And then the one with the single hole is going to go down here somewhere, and the bracket for it. So let's get both those on in the general locations. But we're going to leave the little bolts loose that we run through here. We're just going to leave them loose. That way we can adjust things if we need it anywhere on the line, to get it to mount up where it should on the actual car itself. This car, I don't know if I'm going to be able to get it to mount. I may end up zip tying it close to where it's supposed to be and calling it a day, just because how everything else is messed up under here. But we're going to do our best. Looks like I got some visitors to help me make a video. Alright, now all 3 of these are back on. Let's get it up into the car, and then we can adjust things as we need. Now in a perfect world, we'd be mounting these 2 up first and then running our lines. But in this scenario, I'm going to hook the lines up first up here, and then I'll come back and see where these align up to and secure them down. That way it doesn't like vibrate around or bounce around anymore. Now I'm going to start with the easiest one that goes up to the bottom of the reservoir here. And it's right down here at the moment, so we got to kind of fish it up and get it over here. This one actually needs to go down this way. Maybe if I can get it. Oh, there it goes. It's going all the way down there to that port. But yeah, let's get this one really quick.
Is the cake.
I don't need you anymore.
The hose went on pretty easy, but I actually fought like hell with that clamp, but it is on there now. So let's go do the one underneath the car. And I'm sure you guys saw, I put that clamp on before I slid the hose on.
You better walk out of that door. I don't need you anymore. You better walk out of that door.
Now, don't forget, we also need to tighten this little guy too. Now that the top side of our reservoir hose is back together, it's this little clamp right here we had just kind of sitting on the pipe. So, we're just going to scoot it on there, get it good and tight. And there we go, we got our clamp on there. So, let's see where these brackets mount up at now. Alright, so as you guys saw earlier in the video, it did not have any kind of mounting for this power steering besides that wire that was holding it on this side. I had some extra nuts and bolts and washers and stuff in a bin, so I'm going to be using this stuff to mount it on there. It should work. I haven't tested the fitment or anything, but I had a bunch of these lying around. So we're going to see if it fits really quick, get it mounted up in there, and hopefully it fits, and we're going to get this thing back on the ground and the bumper on soon. Alright, we're almost done. We just got to tighten up these little nuts right here that hold these clamps on. I've got 3 of them. One on this one, and then one on this one as well. So let's get all those tight really quick, just so that we have our clamps in place attached to the AC condenser there. Alright, so before I put the front bumper back on, I'm going to put power steering fluid back in it and just check if we have any leaks.
You better walk out of that door.
Alright, so now I'm just going to start up the car, work the steering wheel left and right a few times, get the power steering fluid all the way through the system, and then we'll come back and check our reservoir. Alright, so now looking down inside here, it's pretty dry again. It went pretty much through all the way through the system. Let's go get some more power steering fluid, and let's also check for leaks really quick. I don't see a fresh leak down there. I don't see a leak coming from this guy. I don't notice any new spots on the ground. So I think our new lines are pretty good to go. We just need to top off the fluid some more. Alright, let's get this front bumper back on the Mustang. Alright, now with your Mustang, make sure your headlight kind of seats behind the bumper here, like this. This one, obviously, again, it's been in a front-end collision, so things don't match up exactly like they should, but I'm going to get it as close as I can. But, yeah, yours, just make sure this seat's in there good and tight, and send these bolts back in. Alright, now we're going to put in these awesome brackets again behind the fender liner to hold the bumper to the actual fender itself. So let's get those installed. Now, like at the beginning of the video, your car probably has more bolts across the top and probably the bottom as well. This one does not. So as of right now, I'm pretty much done with the front end of this car. So I just got to get this thing back down on the ground. Well, I hope this video helped. If you guys have any questions or comments, leave them down in the comment section below and I'll try and answer them as soon as I can. If you guys enjoyed any of the background music that was in this video, check out the artist SoundCloud. His link is in the description.